Google continues to ride the AI train. Cities continue to struggle with empty office spaces due to hybrid work. And more good news, bad news for the electric vehicle space. We'll tackle these issues and more on this episode of Today in Tech. Hi, everyone. Welcome to Today in Tech. I'm Keith Shaw. Pushing the buttons, as always, is Chris from behind the screens. Hello, Chris.
Hey, how's it going?
Good. Hey, there was a big event for Google. Are you a big fan of Google, or do you like do you have a universe that you live in terms of tech companies?
No, not really. I mean, I like the Google phone, the Pixel. I mean, I use a Pixel.
Yeah. All right. Well, so you should actually be more excited by this than I am. I'm sort of on the Apple camp, but I do use Google for a lot of my productivity stuff. Right. So I'm a Google Docs, Google Sheets, all that kind of stuff. So and Gmail, of course, for email. So Google I/O was held recently, and the keynote was like 3 hours long. And wouldn't you know, it was all about AI. And this is a video that was on the Verge. They did a quick little video. They've done one like the whole keynote in 16 minutes, but then they also did the complete keynote in 16 seconds. So do you want to play that?
Yep.
AI, generative AI, AI as AI. It uses AI to bring AI.
So what do you think the key theme of the event was? Yeah. Virtual reality, right?
Yeah, I mean, hold on, give me a second. I need to let me think about this.
Yeah, I know. It's TikTok.
AI.
Yeah, AI. There you go.
I think it's all about AI. It's the shiny new object. Every single company in the world is going to want to get their hands on.
Not a big surprise that AI was a big topic of the Google I/O keynote. Now, what's interesting about that video is, like, I'm surprised someone hasn't taken that video and then added EIEIO, because it is Google I/O, and they kept saying AI, but it sounded like they should just take the old McDonald theme and just put that over it, because it does sound like that song.
Yeah, I mean, it does make you think what these companies are going to use AI for. I mean, just right off the bat, I can think of, like, okay, if you're Google, integrate it into your search, your search bar.
And that's what they announced.
Yeah, if you're Microsoft, you might integrate it in your softwares.
Yep.
Excel, Word, as like an aid, right? But, it may be in like other companies like customer service and stuff like that, helplines. I don't think every single company is going to adopt this, but definitely it's going to be a huge part of.
I think every company that has sort of any sort of generative text type of content producers they're going to look at it as a way for them to reduce work or help them create better content. Let me give you a list of the things that they did announce in terms of the AI stuff. So they're going to integrate AI powered quote unquote snapshots for Google search. You're going to have to opt in for the search generative experience, which is an updated version of Google's large language model known as PaLM 2. Their AI ChatGPT version, which is Bard, which has been slammed in the media for like just being not as good as ChatGPT and some of and even Bing. I mean, come on, Bing, guys. But that now, instead of waiting on a wait list, it's now available to everybody. So just go to like bard.google.com or something like that, and you'll be able to just enjoy the experience of a very cautious AI. Very cautious. Like, I think that was the other thing from the keynote as well. They kept saying, like, this is experimental, guys. It's experimental. You might get some weird results. Like, don't.
It's experimental, but
very wading in the water.
It's experimental, but hey, it's free range. Anybody can do whatever they want with it and use it, and I just find that funny.
They did announce that they are going to use AI image generation based on Adobe's Firefly technology. So that we'll see how bad the images that Bard produces are versus Midjourney or some of these other ones, or even like DALL-E and some of those. I'm a big fan of sort of coming up with crazy image ideas, and so we'll see if they can represent it. Like, again, my go-to is always Alf and the Golden and girls, and they always get that puppet wrong. So we're gonna try that out as soon as we can. They are gonna do some integrations with some other platforms such as OpenTable and Instacart. So we'll start seeing probably some improvements with those services. And AI-powered customizations for Android devices. So this might be interesting to you, Chris. AI that will let you create your own wallpaper. I didn't realize that choosing from 20 different wallpapers was a big issue for people. Most people just put pictures of their significant other or their kids, or that's not it. That's the other one.
That's the other one.
This is the AI-powered. Leave it on there because this is another thing. This is the AI-powered magic editor for Google Photos. So the example they used in this Verge story was, okay, so you've got grandma there and she's trying to do the whole jokey thing of like, hey, I'm catching a waterfall, but it's off. So this is now going to move it so that now grandma looks like she's
Waterfall's going into her
This
hand.
is going to be really important for the people that go to the Leaning Tower of Pisa. They're always trying, because it's the same sort of look.
Right.
They're always like, if I'm trying to hold up Tech Talk right here, go to the other camera view. Like if I'm trying to hold up my sign here. Oh, wrong way. Like if you took a picture and it was wrong, you could then use it so that it looks like I was holding that up. I know. How many, is that like all right, I'm going on a tangent. Is this sort of the goofiest image idea when you're a tourist? Is to pretend or do the thing where you're trying to crush the...
Yeah, I mean... Yeah, you can sterilize a photo. Sure, you can take out the strap on our thing, but it's like, well, just shoot the photo the right way. Like, why not just frame it right?
Well,
and,
I don't know. I mean, you got 20 people that are all doing it, and you want to just why not just stand in front of something and be like, yes, I was here.
Yeah. On another note, they did introduce this Duet AI, and I think this is what
This is probably what
I'll get into.
Yeah, I will probably use that more than anything else because I'm not a Pixel guy.
Yeah.
So
doc, sheets, slides, it's going to integrate it into all.
But you do have to
of it.
sign up to be on the wait list. They're not releasing that to everybody yet. So again, Google with Gmail, they already offer predictive text sort of features when you're writing an email.
Yeah.
Sometimes it works, sometimes it's annoying, and I was like, well, let me just use my own words. But sometimes it's like, okay, that's what I wanted to say, and I'll hit enter, and it'll fill it in. So it does make it a little faster. But I'm wondering if it's like I could do a prompt where it's like, hey, write an email to this person that says, I've got your invite and I'll follow up with you, type of a thing, and maybe it'll generate an email at that point. Again, I'm not using Gmail for my professional work. I mean, we are an office, staff here, so. I'm not really responding a lot on my Gmail stuff. It's usually unsubscribing from emails and newsletters and spam and things like that.
AI generated spam.
Oh, it's still gonna be. Yeah, it's gonna happen. We're gonna see it.
Yeah.
All right. So now Google did have a lot of hardware announcements, and again, so this is they announced the Pixel Fold, which is a foldable phone with a 5.8-inch OLED outer screen that unfolds to reveal a larger 7.6-inch display. $1,800, for a phone. Yeah, I know.
Wait, that's okay. Google's getting up into Apple prices now. That's steep. I didn't know the price because I don't think they display the price in the article here.
Yeah, $1,800.
Oh, they did. Okay,
yeah.
I must have missed it. Wow.
Yeah,
that's geez.
And again, I don't think most people think about their phone prices anyway because it gets bundled in with the services.
They should. People should.
People should, but they don't. When you think about a phone, you go to your carrier, and the carrier is throwing so much stuff at you. Like, hey, if you get a phone and transfer all your lines, we'll give you, a year of Netflix and a year of Disney Plus and a year of Apple TV, and then if you get 4 lines, we'll do this, and and then at some point you're just looking at your monthly bill, and it's like, wow, I'm paying. I think I have 5 lines because there's 5 phones that we have.
Jeez,
I know. Well, 3 kids, 5 phones.
Wow.
And it's 300 and something a month with the service. But at least I get a coupon from T-Mobile every Tuesday for Dunkin' Donuts or something like that. That's their T-Mobile Tuesdays promotion.
That'll help.
If
That'll
I remember
help
to click on it, like if I remember to, oh yeah, it's Tuesday, I should go see what free stuff I'm getting. Okay, so that's their phone. They did announce a mid-range phone, the Pixel 7a, which has a 6.1-inch 1080p screen and the new Google Tensor G2 chip for all those people that are into chips.
Yeah.
That's $500 for a base version. Now, what's interesting to me is that they're also going to offer a $549 version, which will support millimeter wave wireless technology. So that's 5G in the upper range. It's a very, if you're into networks like I am, like that's a cool sort of super fast option for really limited range. So that could be interesting for businesses that might be utilizing millimeter wave technology for whatever they're going to use it for. And then the Pixel tablet, they're back in the tablet space. I guess they haven't been in the space for 4 or 5 years now. So now they've got a tablet slate for the home, and basically it's going to be used for watching videos and playing games, and that's what you're going to use tablets for in the home. $500, not too bad, I guess. I don't know. I still, most people watch TV on a TV.
I mean, younger generations, I think, they're moving over to smaller screens.
Yeah,
and
I think you were scrolling off there on that article, and the Wear OS 4 for watches. I didn't even realize that Google made a watch.
Oh, yeah.
They've revamped their Google Home app, and they've added this feature called Perspectives that will let you get answers from humans, sourcing answers from Reddit, Stack Overflow, YouTube, blogs, etc. So I'm sure there's going to be some more coverage of the Google stuff in the future. If you are interested in that stuff, go to Computer World. They've got a lot of Android coverage from J.R. Raphael. I'm sure he's going to have roundups and roundups and roundups as well. So, EIEIO and AI. All right. Woo. All right, let's move on to another topic. The EV stuff, the electric vehicle. There was some news that came out this week. This was an article in the Wall Street Journal stating that electric cars are only as clean as the power they use to charge their batteries, and how clean that is varies greatly from country to country, according to an analysis of data on power sector emissions in 2022. This is something we've brought up on this show, is that, how clean is an EV,
right?
If you're thinking about the infrastructure behind it is still using fossil fuels or non-renewables or non-green technologies.
Right.
This report, which was from Ember, an independent energy think tank, and also analyzed by the Wall Street Journal, shows that in some parts of the world, such as China, the electricity used to charge the batteries of the country's growing number of EVs comes largely from CO2-heavy coal, diminishing the impact of EV on combating climate change. So, depending on where you are, the infrastructure is either good or bad. And now in the U.S., this article says, now again, they're citing data from the U.S. Energy Information Administration. We have not been able. I went to their site, but I haven't been able to find this. But it said about 60% of electricity produced last year was generated from fossil fuels, around 18% from nuclear power, and 22% from renewable energy. In the comments of this particular article, there was some doubt raised about those numbers. It does seem that 22% does seem high, but we didn't have enough time to sort of dig through that to see where that was based on. That could have been an old report too. A lot of these government agencies, they base their data on stats from like years ago.
Well, just looking at that side, I feel like it should be reversed. 22% should be from nuclear, and 18%
from
renewable. I find that hard to believe.
But I mean, the data does sort of show that, like, they understand at least that producing a greener car will help if you have the infrastructure behind it that starts moving towards that renewable energy.
If you have the infrastructure behind it, but not only that, but like, where do you get the batteries from? Where are we measuring where we're getting that? You know what I mean? Because that's probably going to come from a different country. If we're just measuring our usage of energy in like our country, are we measuring the fossil fuels that are used to manufacture that battery? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So the thing is, like, they give you numbers, but I want to see the actual, like, show me the work.
Yeah, like
show
like
me your
when you were in
work.
school, show me your work that you got that answer and you just didn't ask a computer for it.
Right.
Yeah, I was a little disappointed that when they cited that number, that they did not provide a link that showed you what that number was, where that number came from. But on the other hand, again, I want to try to present both sides of it. Like, this report did come out, and it does feel like it's a legitimate source. It's not just some made up stuff. And it's good that the U.S. is sort of going to it. I don't know what they're going to do about China. China might not even just I don't know if China even cares. If your goal is to get sort of reduce the carbon emissions around the world, you have to focus on the countries that are, still using fossil fuels and burning fossil fuels.
Yeah.
So, but then there was another article that I wanted to bring up too. This was the hold on, I've got a video playing. I'm just going to delete that. All right. So, there was another article based, I think, on the same report that said that Norway has 80% adoption of their population for EVs. And of course, you dismissed that immediately because you're like, well, there's not a lot of people in Norway.
Hold on, which article is that? Is that the heat map?
No, this is the Jalopnik one, which I didn't give you the link for.
Oh, okay.
What's interesting to me is that a lot of media sites are taking the same report and then sort of picking and choosing what they want to talk about, which is one of those things they have to do if you're consuming media on a regular basis, is make sure you check the opinion or the angle that this media site is taking.
Do you want to send me that article? Real quick?
Yeah, hold on.
I mean, good for Norway, but that's Norway. It's not the U.S.
I wouldn't mind living in Norway.
All right, I got it.
I like colder weather.
They're living in the future. Okay.
And then there was a third article, if you want to bring it. So this is the. Do you have the story about Norway?
Which one is that one?
Oh, hold on. I think that the original one I gave you was just a roundup from a newsletter. Okay. Yeah. All right. There was something that said, I think, in the report that Norway had about 80% adoption of the vehicles. But I want to go on to the heat map one. So there was another article in a site called Heat Map, which was talking about how are we going to pay for road improvements, because most of the infrastructure improvements that happen on the freeways and the highways for federal highways is paid for by federal gas tax. States do it too. There's a Massachusetts gas tax. The reason that your gas costs so much is not necessarily because of the cost of producing that gas. It is built in there, but then you're adding in state gas tax, federal gas tax, and all that money is supposed to go to highways to improve the roads and bridges and things like that. So the article then says, well, what happens is if you start producing more electric cars and people start driving more electric cars, they're not driving internal combustion engines, so they're buying less gas in theory, right? The usage of gas will come down. Maybe the price of gas will come down, but then you're also losing that revenue.
Yeah.
Possibly. And they're not going to get rid of the gas tax. So it's not, so the thinking is, all right, well, what additional taxes are people going to have to pay for this? And so the ideas in this article, it's an interesting article because it addresses several different things. One of the ideas was a vehicle mileage tax that you start taxing for usage. So if you drive, 100 miles a day, you pay X. If you only drive 10 miles a day, you pay X or Y, and that's less than what. So again, it's usage based versus just tax everybody depending on how much gas you use. And I guess the gas tax is how much gas you're using. So you're paying more if you drive a lot and pay for a lot of gas. So they're trying to figure out how to do that for vehicle mileage. Because an electric vehicle, you won't be paying for gas. The other idea was that, well, why don't we do an electric vehicle surcharge at these charging stations? So if you're at a hotel or you're at one of these new stations, wherever they are, and you have to pay for the kilowatt hour use. And again, they don't put their prices on. You have to sort of figure it out through the app.
Right.
So they might tax that. But then the problem is that a lot of the EV owners are charging their vehicles at home, and you're not getting any taxes out of them other than The fact is that you do charge for electric tax use or electric use. You do get taxed. So, but they can't tell whether you're recharging you're paying for electricity for your home or for your EV charger. You can't distinguish that. So the idea for the vehicle mileage tax was that you would put a device in the car, it would track your mileage, you'd get a bill. That's going to throw up red flags all over the place as well, because the privacy people are like, no, I don't want the government tracking where I go, what I do. They already do, by the way. There's my tinfoil hat moment of the day.
Well, your phone.
Well, yeah, but not only my phone, but like the little toll charger that I have. And
Yeah.
so, we're Easy Pass here in the New York Northeast. Every time I go under one of those transponders, it knows not only like where I am, it tracks the GPS. It's tracked on on the phone, but it knows how fast I was going. It probably has a picture of my plate, and I'm down in Rhode Island, and Rhode Island. Some of the cities now have traffic light cameras, and so they're taking pictures of you all the time. If they want you, if they want to find out where you were, if you're doing something bad, obviously they're going to find you and track you.
It's all part of the grand scheme of having a surveillance state.
Yeah, at this point, and again, we've talked.
Right.
I think we talked about this with one of our guests a few weeks ago, where everything that you say online is basically you have to be responsible for that. In the privacy world, every time you leave your house, you should just be under the assumption that someone might be watching you, whether it's a camera, whether it's a tracking app, it's your phone. You have no privacy once you leave your house. And even in your house, you probably don't have as much privacy as you think.
Yeah.
Maybe that's a topic for another day, I think.
I think the easy solution to this is they're probably just going to add another tax line item to our income tax.
I know.
And
I don't mind paying for another tax if they then reduce the tax on something else, but then that's not going to happen.
yeah, I
They're
have a
never
feeling
gonna
it won't,
I have a feeling it'd just be more taxes that we have to pay to the government.
Yep.
And I'm a moderate, dude. All right. So let's go on to the next topic, which is work from home, hybrid work, all that other stuff that we've been covering on the show. There was a report this week that with hybrid and remote work now the norm, employers are not renewing leases and choosing carefully the buildings that they want to work for. They want to do for their offices, for their workers. Office space now must compete with every other location where work can be done. It's an article by Lucas Mirian from Computer World. There was also a report from Axios this week that says that in New York City, the return to office has stalled out since its peak a few months ago. I think we're in that phase now where you're going to get a certain number of office visitation rates in New York City. Is it about 60%? Capacity. It's I don't think you're ever gonna, you're never going to go back to the pre-COVID world. And I think that's pretty obvious now that we're basically in a structured hybrid sort of work scenario. Another interesting article from the Wall Street Journal has been basically that so let's say that everybody was working from home and now you're returning to the office, but you're not going 5 days a week. So the Journal article, which is the one that says the decline of the 5-day commute is a boon to suburban retail, is basically numbers for retail locations in downtown areas. People just aren't there 5 days a week. You might have, if you worked in an office building in a downtown city area, maybe you would take your lunch break and you would go to a restaurant or you would go shopping.
Treat yourself a little bit.
Yeah. You're like, oh, I got to go to the CVS and pick up some stuff. And, that's why you had a lot of these things because, retail goes where people are. So now what they're finding is if you're not there 5 days a week, you can't sustain a lot of that business. Plus you've got crime issues in some cities where retailers are leaving because of that.
We won't name states.
And they're now going into suburban areas. So I see that in my own sort of town and neighborhood. Like if I'm working from home that day, I'm like, oh, it's lunchtime. I'll run up. I got to go to the Target and grab some stuff, and before I come back to work. It's crowded. I think there's a lot of people that are still working at home and they just go to, if they want to eat, they go to their local restaurant.
They get out of their house, stretch their legs, because you got to move around.
Yeah. Yeah. That's been a challenge for a lot of people, including myself. It's like when I'm working here, I walk around the office a little bit. I walk upstairs and downstairs, and I get sort of more exercise here than when I'm at home, because it's the distance is just not the same.
Well, the other thing too is we have a gym here.
Yeah.
We have a nice gym.
Yeah.
Fully outfitted gym. And it's like, okay, I'm done with work. I'm just going to go walk.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right to the gym.
And we have a nice little pond behind here that, once it warms up, if it ever warms up here, we're going to actually walk, go outside and walk for a while.
Like these, accommodations that companies provide to their employees, like I can totally understand why they would want to get rid of them, because it's a waste when only, let's say 15, 20% of your employees are coming in to the office and the rest are staying home. It's like, why pay the lease on like maybe this part of the office building that you're renting for a gym or whatnot?
Yeah.
Like why do that? So, and actually I think we talked about that a little bit in past episodes, is you're starting to see companies getting rid of their perks.
Yeah.
Their in-office perks, because you don't have a lot of people coming in. So why waste money on that, especially the way the economy's going?
Right.
So, yeah.
I think we're just going to be stuck in this hybrid world. Now, there was another article this week, Dell Technologies. Apparently, Michael Dell was telling everybody that, he was wagging his finger at fellow executives who bemoaned remote workers was sapping their productivity, and was telling them you're doing it wrong. But apparently now Dell is reversed its course, now ordering some workers back to the office at least 3 days per week, according to an internal memo obtained by CRN. And in the memo, basically said that 100% remote work while living near a Dell Technologies office would no longer be permitted, but also emphasized the company's desire to be a flexible employer. They're trying to have it both ways. Quote, as soon as possible, we'd like more people to work in a hybrid model. This is according to Jeff Clark, the company's vice chairman and co-chief operating officer. Those living within about an hour commute to a major Dell office should come on site at least 3 days a week. We're still flexible. Work with your leader to determine schedules within this framework that works best for you in the business. That's so corporate speak.
Did they say why though? Why? Did they plainly state why?
It did not say that in the article.
Because I feel like they should highlight the reason why, and I think they're afraid to give a reason why.
I think it's because they're paying for office space that nobody's in.
But they should say that.
They should just say that. They should just say,
be upfront with that. Be like, look, we own offices. We're a company. They're not being used, so we kind of have to facilitate those.
Yes,
right?
the closest they got was Clark wrote that as the pandemic has eased, Dell Technologies wants to see more faces in the office.
But like, I think they should.
Why not be upfront? Just say it's because we're paying a lot of money for this office and nobody's here. Sure,
that. But also, wasn't there another article we wanted to bring up about like actual health implications?
This was from March, so this is a little older. It's a New York Times article.
Okay.
And I will bring this up for you in a second.
But there are other reasons why you would want to return to the office, and a lot of that has to do with like the working environment, right? Like, okay, sometimes it is easier to communicate and work through Zoom and email, right? But what about the days when you're trying to get a hold of someone and they're not checking their emails, they're not checking their Slack? It's like, it would be a lot easier if these individuals were in the office physically together, right? So I think there's that aspect that I feel like they should be bringing up, because again, there are studies that we're seeing that you're going to see this negative effect on work productivity, right? And actually, I even think in the last episode we did yesterday, right? I forget her name, but she was talking. Yeah, Lauren. She was talking about their approach to
they went to a structured hybrid. Yeah. Because they tried this flexible hybrid and then it was too confusing for a lot of people.
Right. But even I think
but she also said that if she mandated 5 days a week, she would lose people.
Right. But I think she did bring up
what was the other
she said something like sometimes having a portion of your employees work remote and another portion of your employees working in office.
Yeah.
That can be problematic.
Right,
Because how do you
especially
get
on Zoom meetings. That's what it was. It was more about the Zoom
Exactly.
meetings. Like you didn't know where to look, whether you should look at the TV or look at the people in the room. And she wants to look at the people in the room because they're right there. But then that makes the people that are remote feel weird. Like we've had that issue here with some of our remote people that are in California. Now, obviously, they can't come in here, but we have a remotely distributed team. When we're having a meeting with them, and 5 of us are in a conference room. And then they're on the wall. It looks like they're Big Brother. They're just sort of like hovering over us. But then you want to sort of turn your head and talk to them, but then you're ignoring these other people that are in the room with you.
Right.
I don't know if anybody's been able to solve that yet. I will be interested to see if they can. And I think what the issue is that it's going to have to be like multiple cameras, and you're going to have artificial intelligence saying like,
Well, we'll have holograms by then, right?
that's right. We're all going to move to holograms. That you've solved it. You've solved it, man. Holograms and virtual reality, and we're all going to be virtual in the same space. No, that's dead.
Yeah, I have that
That's never
article
gonna
you sent. The work from home health.
Yes.
So that's this right here.
Okay. And this is an opinion piece. It's written by Jordan Metzel, who is a sports medicine physician. What's the big? Oh, humans need to move. Strong evidence correlates increased movement with a reduced risk of developing cardiovascular conditions.
So I mean, if you're just moving from your bedroom to your office compared to moving around an actual building, you get a little bit more physical activity out of that. Not only that, but social interaction, human faces. I think there was a study that we brought up a while ago saying that it's actually harder for our bodies to communicate through video applications like Zoom because our bodies have to make up the fact that we're not looking at a three-dimensional person in front of us. We're looking at a 2D space.
Yeah.
So our brains kind of have to compensate for that. Something like that. I'm trying to remember what the article exactly was.
That was
saying,
from like a few months ago. I remember that. Yeah. So in this article too, there's also, if you scroll down a little bit more, the doctor says right now many of us aren't getting enough movement. If you want to prove this to yourself, find a way to measure your steps, like using the health app on your smartphone. If you work in a hybrid environment, check your steps on the days you commute. They're likely much greater than the days you're working from home while sitting next to your primary food source, the refrigerator. I just like that line. I mean, we know this.
I mean,
we know this. People know this, but they're not doing anything about it.
Well, so the thing is, they call this an opinion piece.
Right.
I think that's very valid.
Yeah.
I mean, is he wrong in saying that? I don't think so. That's pretty valid. I don't think that's an opinion.
I mean, they were, even when you do work in an office, they would tell people to get up and walk around. If you went in and sat at your desk for 8 hours and did not, and didn't get up, I mean, well, you're hurting yourself then, and you've got, you could get back issues. You could get carpal tunnel.
I have my own issues that I'm currently dealing with.
Yeah.
From the whole working from home, and again, it's my fault for not getting up and moving. But the thing is, like when you work from home, you don't really think about it. You forget about it,
right?
Because it's so convenient. And I think that's what he mentioned here is like, yeah, because of tech and stuff like that, a lot of the things that we do are really convenient. So it's convenient for me to just wake up, go downstairs into my office and just sit there for, I don't know,
and
a long time.
So the walk to the bathroom in my house is a lot shorter than the walk to the bathroom here.
Like 5 feet.
The walk to the office kitchen is longer. And then, I have to walk out to my car to go out to eat if I didn't bring in food that day.
Yeah.
So it is a little bit, I'm actually getting out and walking to the parking garage. I actually purposely park farther back in the parking garage because I got a new car. No, because, it's better than trying to park right next to the office. So, I do get some steps in, but I'm still not getting as many as I should. I do go to the gym when I'm here.
Yeah.
So, yay for a little bit of me trying to be healthier. So, all right. Last story, and then we're going to sign off. This is the crazy, weird story of the day, and it's related to AI, and I apologize if you're sick of me talking about AI. But remember how we've always been talking about, generative AI and sort of AI sort of technologies, and there's going to be stuff that's used for good, and there's going to be stuff that might be used for bad. This falls into the category of just, all right, this is just weird. All right, you ready?
Well, it's just stupid. It's
Okay.
like, pardon my French.
All right, an influencer created an AI version of herself that can be your girlfriend for $1 a minute. She says it could earn her $5 million a month. So this is Karen Marjorie, a Snapchat influencer, has launched a voice-based AI-powered chatbot of herself. Subscribers will be able to pay $1 per minute to chat with Karen AI, which uses OpenAI's GPT-4 API. She anticipates being able to earn up to $5 million a month from it per Fortune. Apparently, this is all subscribers. She has 1.8 million followers. She is assuming that 20,000. Apparently more than 1,000 people have already paid up to subscribe to this. But I don't know if this is a monthly subscription or not. But $1 per minute to chat with an AI bot. And again, I know where everyone's thinking. Everyone's thinking this is going into some sort of adult territory. Maybe it is. I don't know. I'm not going to try it. I'm not going to spend any of my money on this. Apparently, she launched this as a beta test earlier this month, generated $71,610 in revenue in about a week, almost entirely from men. Wow, big surprise. This is according to Fortune.
I mean, it's the next step to OnlyFans, right?
Yeah.
Just requires less work.
I have no idea what that is. I've heard of it. I've never used it. Okay. So now here's the other thing. It's like this estimate of $5 million a month, which would be amazing. But so she's assuming that 20,000 of her 1.8 million Snapchat followers will sign up for the service. You do the math on that. That's about 1.1% of her base. I think if you can get 1.1% of your base to do this, that's amazing. I'm assuming it's going to be less than that. The thing like this too is like if you use it on a per use basis, you might use it once and go, oh, that's interesting, or wow, that's really stupid. You might not use it again. It's like those things. I'm going to equate this to something like a restaurant that uses a robot to make a hamburger. There are a few of those out there. You might go there once and you may go, wow, that's really cool. A robot made my meal. Unless that meal's good. Unless that meal's good, you're not going to go back. So in this thing, unless this service is the most amazing thing you've ever heard of, and I doubt it is.
This is just, okay, look, it's sad. It's just sad. It's pathetic. Like, come on, guys out there. Don't subscribe to this. Don't.
Yeah.
$1 a minute to talk with AI generated text that claims it's going to be your girlfriend for however long you talk to it. Come on, like, no.
It's funny because this article actually did have a reporter try it out, and this reporter, Alexandra Sternlicht, said the AI feels more like an intimacy ready Siri than a virtual girlfriend. Oh boy. All right. But if you and I are still looking for revenue generating opportunities, maybe we should just make a virtual Chris and a virtual Keith, and we're not going to be your boyfriends.
Yeah.
But we will, I'll be your bro. I'll be a virtual chatbot. I'll spout out things.
Yeah. We'll make the bro AI. Bro AI. But I mean,
tech bro AI.
And like, honestly, I'd have to agree with the people in the comments stating, yes, it's sad.
Oh, there were comments? I didn't even see this.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, you got to read some of these.
Our futures, ladies and gentlemen, like, yeah, the sad part about this, people who actually pay for this. I full-heartedly agree.
I think
it's ridiculous.
Okay, so we should give her some credit for actually sort of doing this as, I don't know if she's the first one to do it, but she got the article written about her, and sure. I'm sure other people that are in that influencer space might do the same thing. Like, again, they're hustling, they're getting revenue in different ways. There's a lot of other creepy ways that people
will do anything for a buck, and
people will spend anything. People spend money.
Yeah.
There are people out there that I know of that spend a lot of money on things that they shouldn't be spending money on. But again, that's their right. If they make the money, they have the money, and they want to spend thousands and thousands of dollars on sneakers that they're never going to wear. It's not my money; it's their money.
Right. But something as fleeting.
I've spent a lot of money on Funko Pops. I'm trying to cut that habit.
Yeah, but this is like, it's fleeting. It's like, okay, you send a message, they send a message back. Okay, that's it. You get your dopamine kick.
We'll see. We'll see. If this moves from influencers to celebrities.
Well, hold on a minute. I think they do have something with celebrities. I forget the name of
Yeah.
it.
Oh no, it's Cameo.
Cameo, yes,
Yeah.
they have
Oh,
that. But that's cool. That's you get a video message from A-list celebrity.
Yeah. Well, A-list, you got to pay a lot of money.
Sure. A, B, C.
We've used it. I've used it. So there's an actor who was in a sitcom that my wife loved from the 90s. He was also on some sci-fi shows, and when we started using him to send messages to my wife, it was for Mother's Day, Christmas, or her birthday. Those are the three. So he sent us messages. He was only, I think, $30 at the time. He has since raised his price to $40. And what's great is that because we keep using him for all these occasions, he's now sort of gotten to know us through this. And again, I'm not a stalker. I'm just saying it feels like every time we send him a new request, he goes back and looks at the other times that he reviews all of his previous messages, or at least knows of us enough, and he brings that up in the message. He's really great at it. Now there are some that are charging $250 or $100, and we've used a couple of those. Like we did one for my daughter who was, we got a Broadway star to send her a message for her birthday, and it was okay. It was like, hey, good job, happy birthday, keep following your dreams, that kind of stuff.
Is it per minute or per message?
It's per message.
Well, that's not that bad.
Yeah.
And how long do the messages range from?
It's up to the celebrity. It's up to the influencer, whoever. The messages that we were getting from our favorite guy was 5 minutes. Mm-hmm. He's an older guy, so they tend to talk longer.
Oh, wow.
But that's why I feel like he's engaging with us. Mm-hmm. And so I'm happy to do that 3 times a year to make my wife's Mother's Day, birthday, and Christmas feel a little bit more special. Plus our kids love it too. He says the name of our dogs. Like we've added those in messages, like, please say hello to our 2 dogs. And he does. But that's about it. Like, it's not creepy at all. It's not.
Yeah, no, I've seen it. I know what it is. I mean, it's cool. It's a Cameo, right?
Yeah.
It's a Cameo.
I keep looking for I'm trying to, again, I'm not a celebrity stalker by any means at all. There are probably about 3 people on the planet that I think about as like, I would like to meet them in person at some point.
I thought you watched the last gala, didn't you?
The Met Gala? The last Met Gala? No. Again, I just see it in the news. Like someone was asking me, like, hey, did you watch this thing last night? I was like, nope. I'm doing my own thing on my own time, and it's either video games or theater stuff or I am not in the cultural zeitgeist. Although I do know what the word zeitgeist means.
I don't.
So let's go back to the virtual Keith. I think we might have something there. Virtual Tech Bros. We'll work on that with our staff. All right, Chris, thanks again for catching up on the tech news with me.
Yeah, no problem.
All right, that's all the time we've got for today's episode. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, offer any comments below that you have on any of the topics of this episode. Join us every week for new episodes of Today in Tech. I'm Keith Shaw. Thanks for watching.